Hello everyone, this is Charlotte and this is Chatting in Cars. It's a podcast where I talk about random topics that I've either thought up in the day or pulled out of a small bag. It is 7:19 on a Thursday. I just got paid, so I'm well stoked. Next Thursday is going to suck because I don't get paid, but you know. There is a disclaimer at the start of this podcast where I talk about sensitive topics and I swear a lot. I'm an adult, you're an adult, I would assume, given the rating. The restriction on the age of these podcasts. So I'm hoping if you cannot deal with swearing or sensitive topics that you'll change the channel and go and find something else to look at. I hear there's some good shit on Netflix. I do swear profusely. I don't care. I'm old. I'm looking forward to being really old so I can start throwing things at people. And just blaming on dementia, basically. It's going to be great. The topic for today is siblings. Now, I have 3 siblings. Well, I would hope lots of people have siblings. It's great to have company in the family, right? Some people might appreciate being an only born. My dad is an only born. I think after one, they kind of gave up and said, fuck this. But if you listen to the other podcasts, maybe you know about my dad. I come from a family of 6, so... Sorry, I'm just watching traffic at the moment. You're going to have to put up with that, I'm afraid. I don't want to die or run people over. Or do I? It's nearly Friday. I come from a family of 6. I've got both my parents live together, although they probably shouldn't have stuck together, given the dynamics of that relationship. Toxic as fuck. I have an older brother, an older sister, and a younger sister. So I'm the spare middle child, essentially. I'm the third born. I'm also the one that gets away with a lot of weird shit because all they say is, oh, that's just her, don't worry about it. So I tend to get ignored, but it's great because I'm going on my own little sub-adventures in life and I'm finding a lot of fucked up shit happening and nobody seems to be wanting to pay attention. The dynamics between my siblings are pretty okay. I mean, I think as kids or as, even as teenagers, we got along better than we did with our parents. I mean, we sort of banded together because both my parents are fucked in the head. I was my brother's pet, essentially. I was his little pet project as soon as I was born, as far as I know. I was a mini him, which is great because it means I got to hang out with him and he's a pretty cool, chill dude. And pick up a lot of our traits. We got the same sense of humor, so it's, a lot of stupid stuff, really. A lot of Monty Python kind of stuff. So, my older sister and my younger sister got paired together, basically. I don't know if they have the same sense of humor or anything like that, but Joe and me are like buddies, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, even now he's like his wife gets pissed off because we hang out together and we have a good time because we're just nuts. My older sister and I have a weird dynamic. We chose different paths in life, basically. She was, growing up, she was the ballerina, the feminine one, and I was the tomboy that was face down in the sandpit till I was like 12. Hunting for worms and slaters and shit. So we didn't really get along from a young age. There's something like a 4 or 5 year difference between us. I think it's 4. I think she was born in 81. Yeah, it must be 4. Because, my older brother's 1980. But that gap kind of set the tone, but also like personality clashes. Like she's not really, she was a bit anal growing up, to be honest. It's like, I was a fucking mess. I liked being messy. It's like, I liked being a grubby little worm digging, snail hunting kind of chick. I liked it. I was barefoot most of the time. I was running around the garden being crazy. It was great. She was the ballerina, the pristine. She had literally ballerinas painted on her fucking walls in her bedroom. Everything was pink and yeah. But the roles changed later on in life because now she works on a farm she owns the farm, but she's like pretty intense, functionalist kind of woman now. She outgrew these, I suppose engendered approaches to what a girl should be. I flatly outright denied being them because I'm like, no, I'm a mini my brother. I'm going to be like him. He's great. I'm going to go do, I'm going to go watch him do his wargaming, his Warhammer stuff, and we're going to go look at cool shit like collecting frogs and stuff. It's going to be great. I haven't entirely outgrown that stuff. I still love the physical side of things, like renovating houses and stuff like that. I see no gender attached to those practices because I've been doing them for God knows how long. It's just like, this isn't a girl thing, this is an everyone thing. Everybody digs up slate floors to get their ball dressed for the year 12 formal, right? It's like, fuck it, it's a job. My parents were weird, but they taught me some things. how intense, it is to chisel the floor up with it. What did I have? Like a screwdriver and a hammer. It was something stupid like that. This big fucking floor. And I just went to it, and I took a lot of my anger out on that floor, I have to say. I was just smashing the fuck out of it at one point. But I was a teenager, and I was anorexic, and I was angsty, and it was good therapy. It was good, because I was imagining my parents' head. I don't know. I should be a serial killer by now. Anyway, so my brother and I got a good dynamic. My older sister and I don't really have a good dynamic because, A, she lives like 4 hours away now, driving. I went and saw her a few weeks ago, because she lives in Bridgetown, and I live... about 4 hours away. Bridgetown is nice, by the way. It's a nice country town, she's got chickens and shit, and that's what she wanted to do. She wanted a hobby farm kind of thing. I didn't really go that way. When I started educating myself, I started going, okay, I'm going to get away from that kind of stuff. I want a more clean, more functionalist kind of career-based life. I like my businesses. I like operating my businesses online. It's pretty clean cut. So when I'm on my off days, my approach is more feminine, well, deemed what is feminine. I'm doing the girly stuff, wearing pink and stuff like that, shit tinted jewelry, and so we've swapped roles there. My younger sister is, of course, the most generic youngest thing, right? She's a brat. Anyone's got younger sisters like, oh, you're the brat. It's like she got the amount of times my parents have paid off her credit card and stuff. I'm going, what the fuck? We never got this. How come she gets free money? It's like, she's youngest and she's in a different country. She needs help. No, she needs a fucking job. Go get a fucking job. I mean, she's what, like, if I'm 37, I'm 38 next year. Oh my God, that went fast. She's 2 years younger than me. So I'm 37, she's 35. She's coming over in December, and I know she's still going to feign being useless. I know. And I'm going to be, wiping her ass. I know it. It's going to bug the shit out of me, because I'm like, you are old as fuck now. Surely you've figured out how to do your own stuff by now. It's like, nah. She's airy-fairy. I'm supposed to be the weird one that's, a bit alternative and stuff like that, that gets into a lot of weird stuff, but, ultimately I'm more responsible than her, funny enough. Probably because I've had that much weird shit done to me. But, she's the type of girl that has capers in the fridge. I'm like, who the fuck has capers? I've got 4 types of mustard and capers. I've also got some olives. Have you got any actual fucking food? No. But this is organic. Try this. Fuck off. I'm going to the shops. You've got no fucking food in this house, and I'm angry. I'm just angry. She likes the airy-fairy stuff like that. She's youngest, so she's never really had to invest anything like property or, like get a proper job. She has some jobs. I think she worked for like a Pixie Photo for a short time. I think she's doing like desk job at the moment, behind, I think she's doing some kind of secretary administrative for a real estate business, like people you rent through. I think she's doing the phones. It's like, have you ever held down an actual fucking job? Like a proper one? I mean, she's qualified for a photography job, like a proper big one. You could do your own stuff there. You could go work for like a fucking newspaper or something. That's a decent job as a photographer, something like that, right? She got the degree mainly because my parents said you have to go to uni, you have to get a degree. So she said, fuck it, I'm going to get a photography one. And just whatever. She did what they wanted to, but she didn't actually take on the responsibility of getting a proper full-time job, which is kind of like a middle finger to them, because they're a bit of a bastard when they were growing up anyway, if that's an understatement, if you've listened to the other podcasts. When I got my job, I'm like, right, what can I use as practical? Because I first wanted to go into like fashion design, because I love dresses and stuff like that. I love designing stuff like that. I love business. But the practicality of the situation was I need a job and I need money now. And teaching is a full-time now job. You can have money not enough on the day, but it's coming, right? With starting your own fashion business, a label and stuff like that, it's a bit hit and miss. You might make it, you might not make it. It takes a lot of effort and work and trying to get shit through. I suppose by taking on that front to, looking towards employment, stuff like that, it's more practical, and so I've had to learn how to be more responsible and things like that. She's never really had any sort of obligation to be that responsible. It's like when I got married, got the house, got everything, and just kept going the most generic way. Because I wanted the stability, but she's like, oh, I want to go find myself in the UK. and she went to the UK, and she's like, I'm just going for a year. This is like 10 years later. It's like, are you coming back at some point? I don't know. I might. She's always had someone sort of bailing her out, which annoys the shit out of me, because I had like responsibility like pounded into me. It's like, you will get a job, you will do this. As soon as she got out from under my parents' grip, she was like, I'm going to the UK. I'm going on tour. Fuck this. I'm like, fuck you. My oldest sister has 2 kids, both in their late teens, or coming up to their late teens, I should say. They're in high school. So she went the whole responsible mum thing. I nearly had kids. I didn't want them. I don't want them. I'm like, I've got trauma to deal with, I know, from my parents. Plus the idea of being weighted down with that much responsibility. It's like, would I rather have kids or would I rather run a business? And I'm running 5 businesses at the moment. I'd rather do that, to be honest. It's like, I would rather take that weight on than being stuck raising a kid. I mean, I don't mind if the guy I end up with has a kid, but I'm saying it's not something I'd actively go looking for as a lifestyle choice. And even saying that, if the guy I end up with has a kid, I'm like, this is not my kid per se. I'm here to co-raise it, maybe, but ultimately it's between you and the woman that birthed it. So that's a you thing. I'm going to be the weird aunt in this situation. I'm not, this is not my kid, I'm sorry, but it's not. I would raise it very well. I'm very qualified to raise this child. But it's not my kid, dude. I didn't birth this. This isn't my DNA. I don't mind adopting other people's kids if there's absolutely no fucking strings attached. It's like, if the birth parent is well out of the picture, and it's like, I don't mind taking this one on as my kid. But if there's an extra person, like a third person in the mix, I'm like, right, this is your 2 kids, or you 2, this is your kid, not my business. I'm not disciplining your kid. It's a weird dynamic. I've already set it up. I thought about it maybe too much, because I've never actually met someone who's got kids and tried to date them. So I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking. But my older sister is the mum figure, I have to say. If we go to a go-to person who's trying to make up for the generational curse that is my mum, my older sister is the one. My brother is doing fantastically well as a dad compared to my dad. I can't praise him enough for taking that on, because he had nothing to go by, like nothing as a parent to go by, and he's doing fantastically well. He does still have his doubts, I know. He's second guessing a lot of stuff, and you have to kind of, reaffirm that he's doing the right thing. He worries a lot, which is good. I think it's a good sign as a male, I suppose. Better to be a worrying male than to be a, not give a fuck male as a father and just, ditch or half-ass it, right? I would rather have a more concerned male than a like a half-assing, oh, the girl will handle it sort of thing. The woman will handle it kind of thing. So yeah, I don't mind that. But it comes with anything. It's unknown territory, so you have to constantly reassure him, yes, you're doing okay, it's all right. You are not like dad. It's like, it's okay. And I think there are a lot of men in the community that need to hear that. It's like, it's okay, you are better than your dad, you're doing okay. You need like a little mini hype team. It's like, you're gonna be okay. No one's dead yet. No one's been physically abused, you're fine. The emotional scars might be there, we don't know, but you seem to be doing okay. Okay? He still wants to be around you, he still wants to touch you. He's not scared of you. That's the main indicators that you're doing okay. Yeah, as soon as your kid starts running away from you, actively hiding from you, you might have fucked up. My dad was a berserker. Yeah, I spent a large chunk of my childhood avoiding that prick. And he wouldn't leave. I'm like, can't you just go out for a pack of cigarettes and not come back or some shit like that? I know you fucking smoke. You son of a bitch. How dare you not fulfill the cliche? Prick. But no, my brother's picking up the slack really well. If this was like generational, curses and cycles to be broken, he's knocking that one out of the park. I can't speak highly enough. My sister is the same with her kids. She's done really well. The girls that she's raised have become really independent and successful and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, Okay, and they've got manners, and they're not willing to take shit from anyone as well. And I mean, they weren't aggressively and sort of hazingly, if that's a word, raised like my mum raised us. She's taken a softer approach, which is great, but they are confident young women in the making. I'm pretty stoked about that. I'm hoping my brother's baby, who's only something like 3 at the moment, gets a similar kind of upbringing. You know, adds some quality to our family name. You know, some kind of lineage I'd like to see passed on, rather than, you know, my family name. My dad's side, I should say, my mum's side is quality. I have to say my dad's side is fucked. So I have not got any kind of attachment to my dad's name, even though I've got it as my maiden name, you know. I just don't think much of it, quite frankly. Maybe I haven't gone back far enough to see if we've done anything worthy of keeping the fucking name. I don't know. But, you know, if we can somehow pass on some value to that, it would be great. Or counteract the shit that my predecessors on my dad's side have done. I don't know. But yeah, I think my siblings are doing all right. My younger sister, I should say, is coming down. She's coming back to Australia in December, early December, and she's staying till early January. I don't think she realizes how much it's going to be, how hot it's going to be. I mean, you know, global warming and all that shit, right? But generally, it's fucking Australia, dude. She's lived in the UK, and she's coming into, what is she? There's like, December is their winter over there, so it's going to be cold. But she's coming into like at minimum 40-degree heat, and it's gonna blow her fucking mind. She does it every time she comes back. She comes back for maybe a month or so. She's like, it's so fucking hot. It's like, yeah. It's the equator, man. We're right near it, right? I think it's something to do with that. Global warming, El Nino. The fact that it's fucking Australia. But yeah, I like having her home. I know she annoys the shit out of me. I know as soon as she gets home, she's going to be fucking with my systems. I have, thanks to my autism, thanks to my trauma treatments and all kinds of things, particular routines and specifications I like to live to. Slightly OCD. She's going to be fucking with it, and it's going to drive me fucking nuts. I've been on tour with her, traveling around the UK with her for like, I think we only went together, because I did this big tour for 5 weeks. I think I only did it for something like 2 or 3 weeks with her. But she drove me fucking nuts. Because it's irresponsibility mixed with, can you fix this for me? Fixed with bitching. So it's like, why are you like this? Why are you like this? Two conflicting ideologies, I think. Sorry, I had to just come out from under a crane there, weirdly. But, you know, it's a nice dynamic, because you get some kind of contrast, and you forget how comfortable you've got in your own company and things like that, because I live alone. You need that person to come and agitate your shit, so you can appreciate how nice it is without them, or how much you are happy with your own set of rules and things to, you know, go along. I'm going to drive her nuts, to be honest. I can tell, because I'm so, when it comes to things like food and cleanliness and things like that, I'm pretty fucking rigid. It's like I have things done a particular way. I run a tight ship. I like it this way because it works. I've taken years to develop these things, not to have a spanner thrown in it by, you know, a turd. But she's only staying with me for a few weeks, so I think she wants to go and stay with my mum and dad for a bit as well. They've got a shitty farm somewhere up, you know. And then she'll go and stay with my older sister, maybe my brother as well. So she's sharing her time around, so I've only got her for a glimpse. So it's not too bad. I mean, and there were times when we were touring together that we got along as well, because we got similar tastes in things we want to see. We all got to go see the big treasure houses of the UK, and we signed up to National Treasure and English Heritage and stuff like that, museums and art galleries and things like that. So we've got similar tastes in that way. My older sister, I've got no tastes that are in common, I think. I don't really. So if I had to go on tour with her, I wouldn't know what to do with her. Plus, I don't think she's the kind that likes, you know, traveling particularly. It's not particularly in her blood. I know I take more after my grandma. She's got that gypsy blood where she just itchy feet. And I think that was the problem half the time. It's like when she was married, she was stuck with no money, sort of thing. I mean, she came from money, but she was stuck with no money because she married outside of her religion and belief set, basically. My granddad, even though he's a beautiful man, lovely man, was poor Protestant, shall I say it that way. My grandma was rich Catholic, so she married for love, but not money, which is all right. I think that's a noble cause, but you're supposed to build together. That's what I see. So, but she had itchy feet because she couldn't get out and do things. I mean, she was definitely gypsy. Her family came from, like old school caravan travelers. There are pictures of her with the old wooden caravans and things like that. But they had sort of cashed up. So they had all these fucking Rolls Royces and stuff. But then she married my granddad and, he's not Catholic, so we don't want him, sort of thing. So, yeah. So she lost it all. But she got a husband, so I hope it worked. I mean, they stayed together for their entire life. No divorce or anything. No cheating or anything as far as I'm concerned, as far as I've heard. But I take more after her in that I need to get out. Every 2 years or something like that, I need to travel or do something. Because if I get stuck in that routine, even though I've got the OCD and the autism where I need the routine, it's like I still need to find somewhere else to be. I spent the majority of my life stuck in the same suburb, essentially, from about 5 to... actually, I only just left a couple of years ago. I moved out of my old suburb. So what was that, 2-3 years ago? Yeah, I moved out the suburb. So I was stuck in that area. And to be honest, moving around the area, you go back to all the places, and it's not hard to travel to these places where you've been and you've had stories there and you've had experiences that are both good and bad, and you're just like, you know what? I need to get the fuck out of this suburb. It's crazy. I've been here too long now. But, it's great because you get out and you enjoy yourself and you go and find some new cultures and things like that to do, which is why I enjoy traveling. I always go back to the UK, though. I don't know why. It's home. I miss home. I do not miss Australia. It's a lifestyle that's just... I never got to assimilate in. Which is why I was a bit jealous when my younger sister decided to just deflect back to... I say deflect, but it's like it's going home for her as well. That's where her DNA comes from. And she seems to be doing all right. She's palled in with one of the girls from her, because she's the Drevs winner. She's palled in with one of the girls from her Kingdom Hall, and they seem to lead a very nice social, moral life, and she's not having any problems money-wise or anything, as far as I can see. So she could keep sustainably living there. And I'm a bit jealous, because I would go over there and I'd be like, okay, I need to make sure I've got a job. I want somewhere to live, and the rental crisis, and oh my God, are we going to get paid? And I'd be freaking out, because I need to be able to control details like that. She just wings it. I hate her for that. It's like, how dare you? And not a care in the world, because someone else will catch me. It's like, fuck off. It's usually me catching you, turd. But yeah, none of us older siblings, besides her, none of us older siblings have that mindset. We're just going to wing it and it'll be fine. We're all a bit concerned. My brother is pretty chill with it. He's like, okay, this could be a problem. We're going to fix this. I take after him. It's like, okay. My older sister says this could be a problem, and I'm angry that it's a problem. I say it's a problem. How can we fucking fix this? I don't know what we're doing. Fuck it. We're going to try this. My youngest is like, I fucking don't care. I'm going to keep going. Someone will fix it for me. Oh my God. I love my brother. He handles shit so well. I suppose it's because he's older. He's 41 this year. 40, 41. I don't know. He's doing really well. My older sister is a bit more aggressive, personality-wise. She just does not take shit. But none of the girls in our family were raised to take shit, to be honest, in a kind of a horrible way, really, because there's a lack of empathy for people that are assholes. I mean, we're trying to understand where they're coming from. It's like, oh, they could have had bad life experiences. Oh, they could come from really shit families. They could have, all these things could have happened to them. Oh, they've got this predisposition. But at the same time, we look at our own background and we go, no, fuck you. You should be doing that anyway. So, there's a lack of empathy some days, I've had to learn empathy. because of my job, you know, and when you're dealing with kids with like shitloads of trauma and stuff like that, and then to have them act out, you go, oh, okay, so I need to acknowledge that. And they're kids, so they don't know any better, really. I still have a low threshold for assholes as adults. I hold adults so fucking accountable. And I got those, you know, like Virgoan standards where you're like, if you are an asshole, I will fucking destroy you because I can't stand that shit. I cannot stand it. It's like, I expect better. I expect more. But, you know, we're accountable as adults, right? You shouldn't be acting like a prick. You know, kids can get away with it because they're young and they're inexperienced, but adults, grow the fuck up. Don't be an asshole. Yeah, I don't know why people like that. Thinking about if I was an only child, would I have appreciated it? I don't know. Most of my experiences in life came from hanging around with my siblings. So I suppose there's value there. They add richness to your existence. But at the same time, I would love to have not had to share everything. And everything's been passed down because we were broke as fuck growing up. So when it comes down to, you know, getting new stuff, I suppose maybe it adds value to it as well. Because you're broke as fuck. And as soon as you get something that you've bought yourself from the shop and it's not been, you know, recycled from somewhere or an op shop or passed down or it's got fucking holes and shit in it, you do tend to appreciate it more. So I suppose it added value in that way. Maybe being an only child like my dad was, you tend to get a bit more spoilt. Everything's yours straight off the bat. You don't have to wait for anything. You don't have to, you know, earn anything because it's just given to you, sort of thing. Yeah, so I suppose, yeah, it swings and roundabouts to that. It would have been nice to not have, you know, broken shit by the time it got to me. Yeah, it went through my siblings before it got to me. It was very annoying, actually. I used to wear my brother's hand-me-downs because I was a tomboy, right? And my brother was rough as fuck with his clothes and toys and stuff like that. Yeah, plus he has like ADHD, so he's rough as fuck with a lot of stuff. Or he was growing up. He's not now. He's very gentle. He's like a very gentle giant now. But, you know, any toys like... kids, man, they just destroy stuff. And because he had that, you know, more energy and more, you know, boys in general growing up can be pretty destructive with their stuff, but, you know, an ADHD boy is even more so because they got more energy to break shit with. You know, like, you little fucker, I wanted that toy. I've been eyeballing it for years. I was waiting for you to get bored with it so I could play with it. And by the time it gets to you, it's like broke as fuck. You're like, you asshole. But, you know, he told me a lot of good things. I learned about Warhammer. Oh my God, he sat down. Actually, we were wandering through the shopping center at one point doing a bit of food shopping. And he sat down, well, I say sat down, but we were wandering around. And he told me the entire story that's behind the Warhammer books. And I tried, God love me, I tried to hang on to the story because I can't hold plot sequence in my head to save my life. But he went through and he's memorized the whole fucking lot of what happens and who the names are and what's going on there and who's against who and who's fighting who and bloody sanguine brotherhood and chaos elements and I'm just like going, how the fuck do you remember all this shit? You've got ADHD, but this in particular he has memorized. It's crazy. He's really good with that. So I learned all about that. For the love of Christ, if I remembered any of it. But it's pretty cool having an older brother because you sit there and you watch what they do, and I hero worshipped him for fucking years. So, and I still do a bit because he's a really good man. He's turned out to be a really good man, let alone a good guy. When I take my masculine traits from anyone, I'm looking at him as a role model. My dad is a pointless fuckhead, so it's like I don't. He's showed me what not to be as a, you know, if I do embrace my masculinity. And you should, if you're a girl, because, you know, fuck it. Have it all. Why not? Guys should do the same with their feminine traits. Embrace it all. You should channel Barbara whenever you can. I don't know, I think that was Dylan Moran, actually. Called it channeling Barbara, where he, you know, uses his wife's face creams and stuff like that and puts it on his knees and stuff. If you ever watch Dylan Moran doing stand-up, thoroughly enjoyed it. He's coming to Perth sooner or later, next year. I've got to book tickets. He's brilliant. I laugh my ass off every time. But yeah, you should be embracing all facets. There's no gender anymore. It's there was no reason for gender anymore except to oppress a particular biological sex. So we don't need to do that anymore. Everybody's pitching in, or should be. And if you're sitting on the fact that you've got an innie instead of an outie or an outie instead of an innie in order to get ahead or to be, get out of doing stuff, then fuck that. Like, look at the individual. Stop looking at the fucking genitals. What can the individual do as an individual? Stop looking at whether they're a boy or a girl. Oh my god. It's a complex discussion. I have done a podcast on gender. I know I did it right at the start, but some people hold on to those things. It's like, no, I'm a boy. I have to do these. It's like, no, you don't. No one's making you. Only you're making you. You've got a prison of the mind there. Self-infliction. Only you are saying that you have to do this. The reality is you could not. And nobody would give a shit, quite frankly. Anyway. Would I want more siblings? I don't know. At this point, I've had some of my kids who are, like year 6 and then their mum's just had a baby. Or they're in high school now and their mum's just had a baby. And you sit there and go, yeah, guess who's raising the kid? So you are. Because the mum's off doing her own thing, or the dad's just not present, or, spare pair of hands and that. So I don't know if I'd want more siblings at this point. I was raised with quite a few. I mean, being raised in a fairly big family was one of the reasons why I didn't want kids in itself. It's a lot of hassles and a lot of noise and fuss, and I just like my quiet downtime. I like my clean house that doesn't smell bad, The more people you throw in the mix, the more mess it's going to be. I like that I can isolate and not feel bad about that. We're all of an age where we're all running our own lives and we've got our own shit to do, so no one feels obliged to hang around each other. Not that we ever did anyway. Some families are very, cliquey. They stick together, and I'm going, that's suffocating, man. Stop it. I'm happy to see you guys once a year or so. Send me some memes and we're fine. Like my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, the German one, passive-aggressive bitch. But she's got this thing with her brother, and I think she's got another sister or something like that. But they are so cliquey. They're Skyping every other day, and I'm sitting there going, this is bordering on incestuous, dude. It's creeping me out. But they're so in each other's vicinity, and I do wonder if is it warmth, or is it familiar warmth, or is it codependence? I don't know. It just strikes me as odd that they want to be in contact that much. Looking at I didn't have a good father figure growing up. I know that much. I know he was physically present, but he was a prick. He was just a pointless asshole. We made the situation worse by staying. So. Which is the sad reality of the situation, really. What do you remember about your dad? He was a fucking berserker, and he was an asshole. It's like, that is the legacy he is leaving us with. How do you want to be remembered? But I was watching my cousin, not the one that, did some fucked up shit. My female cousin, and her relationship with her dad, it seems clingy to me. It's like she's one of 3. The oldest one was a guy that died because he had a stroke or something like that when he was in his teens. She took his place in the ranking, I guess, if you want to go that way. And then her younger brother is the one that, did stuff to me. He's my age. She is a bit older than us, so she's maybe about 5 years older than me. But even now, there's a very clingy relationship with her and her dad, where she's in her 40s and she'll sit on his lap. Now, tell me if I'm wrong, but that seems a bit creepy. Is that creepy? I don't know. It's like, I don't know what's going on with that family. But also, at the same time, I've got nothing to gauge it on, Because I didn't have any kind of touch relationship with my dad. I don't know what is appropriate for touching your dad. It's like, I think I sat on my dad's lap as a kid when I was I did it once. I felt very fucking uncomfortable, and I got off. It's like, I don't know what we're doing here. It's like, are you trying to do the affectionate thing now? Is it a bit fucking late? I'm like 10 or whatever it is. I don't know if I was 10. I was probably younger, to be honest, but I'm pretty sure he just fucking gave up. It's like he wanted to give the appearance of being a parent. Whether he actually was, I don't fucking know. Doubtful. but I don't know what's normal for this. It's like, I suppose I just got to watch my brother. It's like, he's doing all right as a dad with toddlers, I know, because I'm also watching that. But at what point do you know, is it just creepy? So, I don't know. Siblings, very weird, I suppose. I'm going to need to do more surveys and research, I think. If you've got any ideas or insight, what is normal touch with parents? I don't know. It's probably why I didn't become a parent, or I didn't. I had 2 miscarriages. I almost had a chance to be a parent, but yeah, I'm kind of glad it turned out the way it did. It sounds a bit twisted, but I'm like, my life would have been very, very fucking different if those kids had survived. I'd be stuck with my ex-husband, and he's a piece of shit. And they'd be teenagers by now, so I wouldn't even, I wouldn't have the same lifestyle. So yeah, it seemed like a curse at the time, but it was a blessing in the long term, because he wasn't the right guy. Not that I've changed my mind about kids now, because I'm still like, yeah. But it's fun to watch my siblings become parents, given the shit circumstances they were raised in. I'm like, you guys seem to be doing okay. It's like, you haven't turned out like them, and I'm digging it. Right, I'm going to have to leave it there. I would love to talk about my siblings some more. Maybe I'll have more experiences. You will definitely hear me bitching about my younger sister, because she's coming over in December. I will have some... She's going to do my head in, I can see it. Hopefully not too much, because, I still want to spend time with her and hang out and be cool and stuff. I got her to show her around my new area. Take her some cool hipster places, because she's into that. Let's go and find some fried eggplant or some shit. It's like, it's organic, it's GMO, it's covered in weed. It's like, oh my god, it's so hipster. Is there coffee attached? No, but there's an IPA. Fuck's an IPA? I don't know. It tastes like ass. So, alright. So I'm going to leave it with you. It's Thursday. I've got one more day and I've got one more podcast. And I'm hoping you have a fantastic Thursday. And I'll see you tomorrow.